Today, we're venturing into dusty and dry desert landscapes to understand how these environments can help us prepare for drought. As you may have observed in your local climate, we are experiencing year-to-year increases in extreme weather. And for many places in the world, this includes an increase in drought conditions, associated water restrictions, and the need to conserve resources. So you need to be ready to start practicing the kinds of changes that can make sure you have the water you need to live every day.
We're here to help you with the science and wisdom of the desert on 9 Worlds.
About a third of the land on Earth is desert, dry landscapes where water is sparse or non-existent. So this means that the animals, people, and plants that make deserts home can help us understand how to manage in times of drought. Desert creatures and plants use 3 main strategies to cope with lack of water: evasion, endurance, and resistance. We can learn from these approaches to help us manage better in times of drought and extreme heat.
Strategy 1, evasion. When things get dry, plants and animals go hide out in cooler, moister areas where they sometimes go completely dormant.
This could include the cool spaces made by the cracks in the rocks, under trees or bushes, underground or under rocks. Mammals like us that reside in the desert may only come out in the cool of the evening to hunt and travel. Now, some desert plants also use a particular kind of photosynthesis where they only open their microscopic pores that take in carbon dioxide at night. These plants store the gas and then use it during the day to create energy. By only opening these pores at night when the air is cooler and moister, the plant is able to hold on to more moisture than if it opened these pores during the hottest, driest parts of the day.
So how can you use this strategy?
Well, plants and animals know to avoid the sun and dry air when they're trying to retain moisture, and this is a trick that you can use too. During times of drought, you may want to shift outdoor activities like gardening and sports to the cooler, moister parts of the day, typically before 9 a.m. and after 4 p.m. The closer to sunrise and sunset, the better, as the increased darkness will help you retain moisture. Think about what you're wearing. Dark clothing absorbs more heat than light-colored clothing, so choose light-colored fabrics on hot, dry days. A hat can provide your own little dark corner of protection for your face and head, and so can loose clothing that covers your arms and your legs. Just like the animals, you want to keep your skin out of the sun to conserve moisture. Outside in your garden, you can use these same principles to help retain moisture for your plants and surroundings. Lack of vegetation and darker colored materials like blacktop tend to increase heat and evaporation.
So outside in your garden, think about how you can create shade and retain moisture in the ground. Plant trees and other greenery that are native to your area to help keep the ground cool and moist. If you have a garden, natural mulch like compost can help keep moisture in the ground and your plants living longer and healthier when water supplies are limited. Strategy 2, endurance. Desert plants and animals have a number of adaptations to help them stay active during the periods of low to no water.
All cacti are succulents, and you will often find succulents in the desert. Now, these plants know how to store water, and they are ready to absorb large quantities of water in short periods of time. Desert rains are short and light, and the soil dries fast, so succulents have extensive, shallow root systems to suck up moisture quickly. And then they store this moisture in their leaves, stems, or roots. Now, once they have this moisture stored up, they work hard to preserve this very precious and scarce resource. Their stems and leaves have a waxy, almost waterproof covering that helps them hold on to that water they've absorbed. Then most succulent plants also have sharp spines, or they can be toxic, and this is to protect them from thirsty animals who would eat their leaves for the stored water. And when water is particularly scarce and desert plants are stressed from the lack of water, they can lower their metabolism, so they use less. Animals that live in the desert have many adaptations too. Some use parts of their bodies like a built-in air conditioner to help them cool down, like jackrabbits who use their big ears and blood vessels, which act as a kind of thermostat, dilating in response to air and body temperature and sending warm blood to their extremities to help them cool off.
Other desert animals reabsorb fluid from their pee. Yeah, I know, and guess what? You do it too! I didn't know this, but you know when your urine becomes darker yellow and that means that you haven't drinking water in a while? That's the same thing as what desert animals do. They do it on a way bigger extreme.
But you don't need to recycle your pee to learn from these endurance tricks. But you do need to think like a cactus, finding ways to hold on to the water when it does arrive and treat it like the most precious resource that it is.
Oh, I am. Inside the house, this means finding and stopping water leaks. And think about where and how you can use water. And using all the water that comes out of the faucet.
Take showers instead of baths. Try not to let the faucet run when you're doing other things like brushing your teeth or washing your hands. But if you do need to let it run, capture the water and use it for cooking, bathing, filling the dog bowl, whatever. Think about how you can recycle the water you use. That pasta water, maybe use it to water your garden and plants. Just like the cacti, protect and use every single drop.
You can use these tips outside too! For watering the garden or washing the car. Use a hose with a shut-off nozzle so the water flows only as needed. When finished, turn it off at the faucet to avoid leaks.
If you're using sprinklers, make sure that the water is hitting the plants and soil where you need it and not other surfaces like the concrete where it will just evaporate away. Water in short bursts. The ground can only absorb so much at one time, and set a timer so you don't forget to turn it off. And make sure that you're keeping pools and spas covered when not in use, again, so water doesn't evaporate away. You can also think about ways to collect more rainwater in your garden, such as rain barrels, and using planting techniques and tools that will help make sure the water stays where you need it.
Finally, strategy 3, resistance. These are adaptations that just allow the creature to resist the dryness altogether. Some plants also have this adaptation, and you can too.
For example, some reptiles are perfectly adapted to desert living. People living in desert cities like Phoenix and Tucson have learned ways to sustainably use their water by planning ahead and creating communities where efficient water use and conservation is the norm. In addition to thoughtful city planning, the people there work to conserve water and use it efficiently every day, using water carefully, recycling it, and making every drop count. And that sounds like the best drought plan of all. Planning ahead, thinking like a desert dweller, conserving our resources now to make sure we have more than enough water to carry us through increasingly unpredictable and extreme weather events that will keep coming in the future.
Well, we're real thirsty, so we're gonna go have a drink. Subscribe, like, and check out our other videos. We even got a whole set of videos about a desert that's white. Check those out. There's sledding in them.